Good evening. Beth here, Dr. Beth here with the next installment of Guiding Questions. This week we're talking about the thematic review of literature. The schedule for your submissions this week are to submit your thematic review of literature next to your critical friends for review by Monday of next week, per whatever time schedule you have established with them for those communications. Your assignment is due on Wednesday, your reading response also due on Wednesday, and your reflection due on Friday the 30th. And then responses to the reflections due no later than Sunday, so that I can get them scored by Monday or so. So you've already submitted your annotated bibliography, and you're now going to compile those bibliographic references into a document that will be your thematic review of literature. First, let's take a look at what people were saying around our professional learning community this week. A few natural themes seemed to come out of my search, and I was able to focus my search around those themes. So some people are more or less advanced in terms of getting the themes and the focus of their research. And I know there are some bunny trails going out. We'll talk about that in a second. But that's one of the goals of doing the research, of course, is that it helps you kind of focus your thinking, which I think all of you have got that idea. This teacher says you need to know your students, and what she did was thought about one thing she wanted to change in class and focused on that. I do not know why that happened. She didn't use the research to come up with an initial question, but rather her own classroom and what she wanted to improve on. And this is really what this is all about. You know, use your students as your guide to changes that you want to make either in your practice or what they do. It's the passion you have for your kids and for your teaching. Another found 3 readings that really inspired me or gave her much to, inspired her or gave her, I'm thinking it's a her. I have found 3 readings that have really inspired me or given me much to think about. On the other hand, I've read a few that either don't apply or I already knew the information. Now with the ones that don't apply, of course, you're going to discard them. But if you already know the information, do not discard those necessarily. That just means you have that experience and you have that knowledge and you have some idea of confirmation that what they said is true. So think about how that piece will fit in the big picture of your study, and it may be a very suitable piece for the foundation or for the review of literature to support your study, which is the reason you're looking at it in the first place. So don't necessarily toss information you already know. It may be very useful to you in the big scheme of things. The interesting thing that I noted about myself is that I'm very excited to go and research further. I didn't think that making myself do more work and more reading would actually be exciting, but I'm really interested and invested in this topic and have a hunger to learn more. And that is very gratifying to read. I think that that's what this research really should inspire in you as researchers. I'm hoping, you know, everybody's here for a different reason. I have noticed that people who are doing the research just to get the course done, the research is not very inspiring. It's pretty practical, pragmatic, and let me just get it done kind of research. The research where people actually find themselves looking at a creative process for their own professional development, their own student growth from the students in their classroom, are much more practical in an inspired sense than not. So it's wonderful that it can spur on this kind of inspiration in a person. It is your mission. Research should be your mission. I mean, it should be a mission that you have. It should be about a mission that you have or a passion that you have. It seems like every time I read another article, I get a new idea about my project, Bunny Trails. I think 3 or 4 of you wrote that you got distracted. Somebody was reading about baby porcupines, which I would have loved to read about baby porcupines. But it's basically, this is not uncommon, and I know that maybe it's frustrating to lose that time, but research, like any creative endeavor, requires us to explore and gets our brains working. It requires us to explore different fields and different trails, different ideas. So although some of you use the word mind numbing, it's a lot of reading, you know, so you do have to exercise a little bit of self-discipline, but it's not uncommon, and it's probably even good every now and then to just kind of let go and read something you like, just because you like it. Have you looked at expanding your search field to outside of educational research? And this person suggested this, not knowing, I think, I don't know if he'd read the book or not yet at that point, because he also has experience in research, but it's true in that, for example, those of you that are doing PE topics, you can look in the health field and the nutrition field. There are research pieces there. There physical therapy field. Those fields have material on, you know, the physical well-being of students and their ability to focus and so forth. For art and music, of course, you can move out into the art and music fields, not just stay within education. Everything seems to be kind of tied to education. In fact, you'll see when there's an APA format piece for thematic review of literature that's taken from the medical field, the format is exactly the same as we use in our field. So just so you know that we have there's a standardized formatting process for research articles or research papers that goes across content too. So overall, doing research has made me feel more knowledgeable, confident, and excited as a teacher researcher, and that I can do some really great things for my students. So getting the experience of others is a really critical outcome. I wanted to use another word, a real critical side effect of exploring your field, and that there are people like you having done the same thing or doing similar things that have similar questions who want to really figure things out, and they have already broken trail for you. So it's really, really lovely that way. You're not alone if you feel like your question is in a constant state of change. And I think in the Art of Classroom Inquiry, they really make a point of saying that research is really a malleable process. You're going to come back on yourself. It's very recursive. And that even though, as I said, in this class we're being very linear in the process of it, you're going to keep looking back and maybe adding things and taking things away because you need to adjust things. Just let me know. Always let me know, because I'm going to go, what happened here? But it's okay, because that's just the part of this whole process. Resources. I want to commend you for being wonderful sources of information and resources for each other. This is a wonderful professional learning community you've developed, or you're developing, and you guys are all spot on. You're spot on as critical friends. I see it even in your reflections. And the resources you provide each other in terms of articles and information, you know, that's what this is all about, is working together as a professional community. So thank you all very much. This came out of the readings too. Review of literature, and somebody had posted this in their reading response, is a creative path. We make meaning as we research and learn from those who have wandered similar paths. And I kind of like the poetic nature of this. It's really true. And you're wandering with intention. You're not wandering just willy-nilly because the trees look pretty, but you really want to see what's making those trees grow. So take advantage of those experts. These are ideas that you can think about if you're having trouble focusing. These have come from other research projects and focuses of other teachers, and there are plenty in the books that you've read. These came from my classes. And formative assessments using rubric standards, frequency of office referrals, these are all things you can measure and that you can do some kind of intervention about. The effect of modeling, scaffolding, or chunking instructional strategies, collaborative or cooperative learning structures, problem-solving strategies, strategies for effective listening and collaboration, changing, augmenting student discourse, like using sentence frames for how they respond and discuss a piece of literature, teaching front-loading vocabulary, journaling as an intervention, intentionally tracking student growth as formative assessments. I think somebody's doing that with PE this time around. Utilization of learning maps and students to self-assess and set personal academic goals. How does that affect their ability to edit their writing? The effect of specific reading or writing strategies, response to classroom rituals and routines. So, and all the things you're doing, it takes courage to move into this. These are ideas for you to, again, maybe possibly use these as a focus or a kind of a jumping off point. So, and of course you've got your resources, your other resources that are coming at you fast and furious. I did mention the APA formatting. Somebody asked if we had, you know, if we were going to be talking about actually creating or formatting, I guess, creating the thematic review literature. Yes, please look at Module 4. Module 4 has, Ann Jones made a YouTube video. I have the APA formatting for it. There's a couple of examples. There's an article about the elements that need to be in the review of literature, of research. Just know basically that it's organized around the themes that you have already set up in your annotated bibliography, if you've got them set up. And that's really how you're going to end up organizing your thematic review of research or literature. What's going to happen is you're going to take your summaries, your annotations, and you're going to turn it into a narrative. You're just going to put it together. You're going to make a story with them. You're going to put it together so that it tells the story of whatever that theme is about. And again, you're not spending pages doing this. You just, you know, maybe a page per theme at the most, maybe even less. Depends on how much you need to write. So for your peer review, you're going to ask each other, is it correctly formatted with APA, American Psychological Association formatting? And I am very picky about it. V, capital P. So make sure that you pay attention, and there's a whole section in the course content materials on APA formatting. Go back to that as often as you need to, because that is going to be your go-to section, and you can go online. How have you organized the themes from your readings in the review? There we go. What's the map? What's the story? What's the story? How are the alternative views or perspectives presented in a way that both challenges and supports your project? Some of you have already talked about alternative perspectives, and they bring that mirror up to us that challenges our own thinking. And do we need to stay on this track, or do we need to switch tracks? And you've already given me the takeaway from the reading, so we don't have to worry about that one. But with each other, you need to ask the questions. This is basically on the rubric for your literature review, just like the questions from last week were on the rubric for the annotated bibliography. So it's nice to get a lot of that fine-tuned before you hand it in, so that I don't have to give you as much feedback, and you may not have to revise, or you'll have to revise less. But don't worry about the revising. It's really okay. This is a big project. We'll take time with it. So you're going to send each other the draft, review it with your critical friends per whatever agreement you have in meetings, comment on each other, revise and submit your assignments by Wednesday. And then your essential question will be, what patterns or themes are evident in the research I read? How do these themes inform my project? And you basically are already there with that. So it should take you not too much time to put together your reflections. And we're ready to go. So I will be available, even though I will be gone this weekend, I will be available online in the sense that I will be checking my emails. So I'll check my emails. If you have any questions, I welcome you to email me. Do ask your questions of your critical friends first, just to confirm. And then if there's still some question or doubt, please confirm with me, and I will. I have to just give you one caveat. I had one group of critical friends just chugging along, and they never checked with me, and they were all kind of using each other as a model, and they had a lot of revising to do as a result. So if there's any doubt, please check with me. So have a great week. Sorry to miss you Thursday, but I will see you again the following Thursday. And with that, I'll talk to you later.